I think you bring up a really important distinction there between Odysee and things like GETTR and some of the other things that have come before, where it's not just that you guys are so free speech that you're to promise, pinky promise you're not going to take stuff down. It's like you built a system where you can't. You functionally can't do the terrible things that YouTube does, and you built an entire system around that. And I think that speaks a lot to, like, it's not just
Right.
going to end up being bullshit like GETTR was.
Yeah, which is also that I think it's the only way that can even work. I think there are sites out there right now that are centralized that have better policy than some of the big tech sites. But part of it is, I think part of the reason big tech plays the way that it does is it's a result of natural incentives. I mean, just because you can look at how it's played out repeatedly on like everyone, right? Like
Right.
their policies were all better before. Every great big tech site starts open and open APIs and just embed our stuff and build alternative clients. And you can anything, and they're much more free. Like Reddit, Twitter, Facebook. They all went through the same, not literally the same, but approximately the same set of steps where they were much better. Even Google, right? Google was much better. Google was a much better company a decade ago than they are today. And I think that, so like, even if a company is very good today, it's like, well, we've seen repeatedly, whatever these incentives are, I don't even need to name exactly what they are, how things play out this way. Like there's clearly, like, we see this play out repeatedly. There's not a company you can point to where it's like, oh, well, they've been good for 30 years. Right. So even if some new companies, well, we've seen companies be good in the past, they get big enough, whether it's the ad money or other things, who knows, whatever those corrupting incentives or corrupting pressures are, And so in our case, everything we've done is open source. Odysee does set its own rules. So Odysee sets rules just like Twitter does, just like these other things do. But what's different about that, just like YouTube does, what's different about it is, well, one, the rules are better, but the real part is that everything is open source, everything is decentralized. So like if Odysee ever becomes a real jerk and someone wants to start odyssey2.com, there's not that same set of hurdles where you have to start over from scratch. People can take their following. You can effectively, all of your settings, all of your everything can go into alternative ones. The closest thing, I mean, I think, like, this isn't the sexiest comparison, but one of the systems that's held up the best is email. Email, it's certainly gotten less popular, but it never got corrupted. You never hear people worry about, I'm going to get kicked off my email. And so I think that's part of the reason email has held up, is because it's this open source type approach. It's more decentralized in the sense that you can be on Outlook and I can be on Proton Mail or whatever, and they can all communicate. So I think, like, that's definitely how we're trying to take content publishing. Bitcoin has these properties as well. I'm not trapped in Coinbase. I can use a service to sign up. I take my Bitcoin with me. I leave. I'm still part of the network. And so that's what we're trying to do, is turn video sharing, or even digital content sharing more generally, into systems that have these properties.
Shut up and sit down.